So it's such an honor to be at the shows and be able to see you guys and work with you and be on stage with you. So me personally, top 5 moments, fantastic. I love every one of you and what you've done. And I'm sure I'm not the only person that said stuff like that to you. What does that, like, how does that feel for you guys when somebody's been like, you were my childhood? So I'll start with Ash if you.
Well, you know, it's an incredibly powerful thing to be part of something that literally is evolving every moment, like the Pokemon that, you know, I trained. But the fact, like, what you've been able to take from Pokemon and run with, how everyone has taken it and made it their own, with all the art we have here and the art that people bring, the things that you find so inspiring that you purchase or you create. It's been amazing to be a part of that. We go to work and we do our bit, we do our 100%, and you never know how far that will reach. But here, over 25 years later, we're still sitting around talking about Pokemon. It's quite an honor, and it's the biggest honor of my life to be a part of it.
Yeah, you know, I was a fan of anime as a kid. In 5th grade, I would come home from school and watch Battle of the Planets, which and G-Force stuff, and that was like, you know, you would tell your friends about a show or anime, and they'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then to work on a show like Pokemon, which is so universal, the message is so good without being preachy about friendship. That it changed how many people know what anime is, and also different countries. You know, to have people who grew up watching our show that it was dubbed in English, so if they spoke English in that country, they'd be like, oh, or I learned English from watching your version of these shows. If you're 6 years old, if you're 60 years old, you have heard of Pokemon. Whether you play the game, whether you play the video games, or you watch a show, because the message of that show was so, I feel connected to the characters that I played. It's a bonus that I'm very close friends with the close friends of mine in cartoon world. And then meeting you guys, we spent so much time working in a booth where maybe there's a director, an engineer, there's no live audience, there's no interaction. You only know that it's successful based on the ratings, or, you know, there's a breakfast cereal that's, now it's Pokemon. You're like, oh, I guess this is popular. But it's the individual stories. When you come up to us at the table, or even the questions you ask here, and you share what it meant to you. You know, I was a new kid at school. I was bullied. I got in fights all the time because I was really, really small. Not that I'm a big guy now, but I understood what that's like to make new friends. And a lot of you have told us, well, you guys as those characters, you were my friends, and then you also helped me make new friends. That to me means more than working on a cartoon or signing autographs. The fact that we connect as both the actor and as the fan, that's the most special thing I take away from working on these shows.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Specifically with Pokemon, we were all pursuing different kinds of paths in our lives, different kinds of creativity. And we happened to be in a situation where we were a part of something that became so much more than anybody could have ever imagined. Every actor tries to do their best, and sometimes there are brilliant performances and things you will never hear about. And fortunately, we became a part of something that was very well recognized, certainly incredibly well embraced. And so I don't think it's a stretch for me to speak for all of us to say how humbled, privileged we feel. It's a very serendipitous path when you're a creative. There's no guarantees. There's no guarantees in anything. But you follow this journey, and you sometimes find these extraordinary things. 20 years or more later, we were, as I often say, I was just trying not to get fired, right? And then to have people bestow such wonderful compliments on what we did is extraordinary. And a lot of what people do, and I do this myself with like Star Wars and comic books and stuff like that, when I have hard times, I gravitate to that stuff because it comforts me, right? It helps me believe in something, or at least takes me away from something that's too hard to deal with all at once. And so when we get comments like, thank you for getting me through that hard time, I know exactly what you mean. But it's so important for you to understand, you did that. You got yourself through that hard doing something that helped you through. And we got to be a part of that. So, thank you.
You know, the good point is that, well, just like Ash too, you didn't give up. You found something to be the buoy to float you through, and it's really important to give yourself, to credit yourself for being smart, brave, courageous enough to find something. It's not your fault if you sink, but it's great if you can find something to help you float.
Right.